Good morning, Warzone kids. Beautiful chilly day on the trail this morning. And I'm happy that you're watching this if you're a fellow Warzone kid like me. That's just my term for those of us that grew up in a world of abuse and harm. It was more like a hostile war zone and less like a supportive nursery. I'm a child sex abuse survivor, addict, bulimic. I live with borderline personality disorder, and I check a lot of the boxes on several of the other ones. My Jenga Tower did not come out of my childhood unscathed. That's the way I think of my psyche. Psyche is the Greek word for soul. It's also the Greek word for butterfly. I think of, that game Jenga? You got these wooden blocks, and they're just plain wooden blocks. Each one's identical to the next. But when you start off the game, you line them up, 3 this way, then 3 the other way, perpendicular to each other, so they make a big tower. When you start off, that tower is all in one big block, nice and solid, made of these little individual blocks, but they form a whole, a cosmos. That's just a Greek word for a whole that's made of parts, like us. Now, childhood is a time when each of us starts off with a Jenga tower, or really maybe it's something more like we start off with a bunch of individual blocks, and our childhood puts those blocks together into some kind of Jenga tower. Either way you want to think about it, it's just a metaphor. Work with me. Harm as a child. Sexual harm, psychological harm, physical harm, emotional harm. Harm as a child takes one of those little Jenga blocks out of the tower and puts it on top, like you do when you play Jenga. Chronic abuse over time takes more of those blocks out. The blocks can come from higher up on the tower. You can take a block from, 2/3 of the way up the tower, put it on the top, and it doesn't affect the tower as much as it does if you try to take the blocks out from the very bottom of that tower. Childhood harm, particularly childhood sex abuse, chronic emotional abuse, chronic physical abuse, chronic kinds of harm. They just change the world that the child's living in. And child sex abuse has a way of really affecting the lowermost parts of your Jenga tower. When you have child sex abuse, you're taking blocks out of the very bottom of that Jenga tower, and you're stacking them up higher and higher. And the more blocks you take up, the higher that Jenga tower gets stacked. And by the time you come to the end of the game, that tower is a swaying mess that you can't even look at. Don't step hard near it. Don't bang on the table. In fact, don't even look at it. You're going to make it all fall down. A Warzone kid like myself, has a psyche, a soul. That's just what I call all this stuff, everything that I am inside of my body, my mental stuff. I call that all a soul. Warzone kids come out of their childhood with a Jenga tower that ain't even been close to fighting shape. It's tall, it's wobbly, it's rickety, and you got to be real careful around it. The psyche is liable to come tumbling down at any moment. Adults living with untreated borderline personality disorder have something like a 10% suicide rate. I can understand why. It can feel hopeless. And like no matter what you do, it's going to start out being different, and it's going to end up being the same. No matter how it starts out, it's going to end up being the same. Our job as Warzone kids, our task, is living with that Jenga tower, and words like healing and becoming whole. That's what I call it when we take those Jenga blocks from on top and slide them back down where they go. Because if you're a Warzone kid like me, if you're a child sex abuse survivor, if you're living with the kind of stuff I'm talking about, or whatever it is you're living with, if you heard me talk about Warzone kids and you are one, then you recognized it. I know you did. Becoming whole is about recognizing the truth and the reality of your Jenga tower and taking those blocks apart from on top and putting them back down where they go. And you can do that. It can happen. But not without trying. It ain't going to happen by accident. All that's going to happen by accident is that tower's going to come flying down. And if it does, that's okay. My Jenga tower has collapsed more than once. And you know what? When it collapses all the way, sometimes it makes it easier to build it up. You don't have to be so careful. It's all on the floor already. You're not going to knock it down. It's already done happened. When your life falls apart, there it is right in front of you. There's pieces everywhere. You don't have to play like that game Operation where you got to be real careful because the tower done fell down. Just pick up a block off the floor, put it back where it goes. Easy win. That's becoming whole. That is returning your rickety Jenga tower to a solid block. That is your soul. That is your psyche. The cosmos. That is you. You are a whole made of parts. And that rickety tower can get solid again. That's healing, whatever you want to call it. That's becoming whole. I don't love the word healing myself, but I use it all the time. That is how you learn and become who you are, by honoring and recognizing and acknowledging the Jenga tower of your life. And when it falls down, that's okay. Pick up one piece at a time, put it back where it goes. That's our task as Warzone kids. And it's a little bit easier if we do it together. Whatever your Jenga tower is like, you can know that you ain't alone. And it's okay, whatever it is. It's a beautiful day on the trail, Pilgrim. All we can do for today is pick up the piece of that Jenga tower that we see in front of us and put it back where it goes. All we can do for today is walk today's miles. So let's walk them together, Pilgrim. We got a lot to talk about.